and discuss in almost every books, article, newspaper which try to uphold the contribution of Tripura. But here, specifically when it comes to the role of tribal people are not been mentioned much, or it has remained always underemphasized, or which is why it requires a kind of a retrospection to look at the thing. So therefore, as a central part of my study, I try to uncover the role of the tribals in the liberation war of in the movement. But I must admit that my study may not be purely a historical study, because I'm not a history student. So, however, I cannot just without relying on historical facts. Also, I cannot avoid my understandings of my study. So, therefore, I have used in my study mainly of a socio-historical perspectives. So here, basically, I'll try to be brief as much as I can, since we don't have much time. When it comes to here, the response of the tribal people, specifically, you will see in any of the assembly proceedings or any of books, means you'll be witnessing mostly the tribals, their organizations, such as the Tripura Rajagana Mukti Parishads or the Tripura Upajati Jama Samati. So these played. They have, for example, say the Tripura Rajagana Mukti Parishad in a press release on 1st April 1971, they have asserted their wholehearted support for the Mukti Juddhas of Bangladesh. Also, if I look at any others contribution made by this tribal organization plays a very much important role. However, my objective or my understanding of the role of people was not mainly to those organizations. Of course, they also play an important role. But I was trying to uncover to such roles played by the tribal people which may not be, in any of the books. I try to understand from a kind of, how the tribal peoples also, despite that economically it was not so good, right? And of course it led to a kind of a demographic imbalances, but how a moral support has been, it has generated. For example, I can give an example of one person. His name is Bhakta Hai. So he was a little boy when he was when the whole movement was taking place. So there was another boy who came from Bangladesh. So now the bonding, it became so strong. Now they consider like they're a brother together. So they have formed a kind of a relationship. So that man's son, daughter will call to that man as father. Similarly, that the person who took a refugee, his son and daughter will also call them as a father, will address him as a father. So this kind of a bonding has built up, which may not many have tried to uncover. There is also not the only one case. There are several cases. For example, there is another woman who also talks about this the stories of how particularly the Tripuri communities who have showed a lot of love and generosity for any kind of problems when they were facing. So without wasting much of a time, what I want to say here that of course appreciating the role of India in general and Tripura particular in the birth of Bangladesh, it is very much important. But one must not also ignore the role of the tribals, the movement. Of course, I have mentioned the organizations, but other than that, we have to also look from a kind of which my discipline, that basically like look at from the socially how the connection it has brought. Okay, so if not that, if we don't uncover that, it will leave a gap in the understanding of the complete history of the liberation war, and which will also remain as unheeded. So therefore here, what I want to say the lastly is that Tripura people have proven example of a moral supporters, and secondly, in terms of this humanitarian act, even though Tripura has suffered in terms of refugee population now, of course, there's a general, understanding when it comes to Tripura that the kind of attention that all it time to time it occurs, but I would not say that is the only thing must continue, because I feel that with a mutual understanding, with a kind of a dialogical kind of a historical perspective, if it can be applied, I think with all the love and harmony, the peace can be retained, restored again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas Malsom, for his nice presentation. We know that our liberation was made Tripura's 1971 experience is very unique. Question and answer to be asked in the audience later if anybody. Okay.